to the Dirty South Fantasy Football Podcast with your hosts, Lee and Lorenzo Ice-T.
What up, bro?
What up, E. Lee, in the place to be?
Oh, man, let me get my microphone a little closer, man. I got it. I haven't used it in so long. I had it way
I know. Maybe I should put mine a little closer. How am I sounding? I'm sounding good? You hear me well?
Mike sounds nice. Check one.
Mike sounds nice. Check two. All right. Sounds good. Okay. Yeah, a little MC. Was that MC light? No, that was salt and pepper. Damn.
Salt and pepper.
I messed that one up.
Oh, boy. Oh, they'd be pissed off.
I know, right?
It's back to them.
Yeah.
Welcome.
But okay, let's get off the music and let's get on the sports. Here we go.
There we go. Welcome to the Dirty South Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm yours truly, Eric Lee, and you are?
I'm the LIT, the CIT, always on fire. I stay lit. Lorenzo Ice-T to the Thomas.
And yes. There's some people checking us out. They're going to be like, what? Hold on. Fantasy football on a Thursday.
That's right.
Yeah. We are doing fantasy football today. Shout out to Heart Attack. Thanks for checking in already.
Has he checked in already?
He's already checked in.
What up, Tack? How you doing, man? Love you, dog. Love you.
Hey, absolutely. My brother. So generally, for the folks that are usually checking us out at this time, we're usually doing Shooting the Breeze conversations with the DJ where we get a chance to talk to some folks. We will be back with that in a couple of weeks. My man, Big Tigger, has signed on to be on the show as they're going to grace him with the the Rap City documentary that's going to be coming out.
I believe that's October. Yeah, October 10th.
It's October 10th.
Yep.
So Tig said he's going to do the show so we can get a chance to holler at Tig, and we will be back with some more of our good friends in the music industry and entertainment industry, and that's all going down. But tonight,
yes,
we are kicking off the second season, because this is where we all started, Lo, right here with this podcast with the Dirty South Fantasy Football Podcast. So we are going to kick it off, season 2, episode 1. I named it Injuries, and
more injuries.
And no injuries. Man, the football season has kicked off, and of course, that's the best time of the year, in my personal opinion. But there are things that have been going on in the NFL, man, that has been crazy for all of my fantasy football general managers. What is your take thus far from what you've seen?
Well, I mean, it's funny that's the first question that you asked me, because I think we're both in about 4 leagues, right?
Yeah.
So
we take this stuff seriously.
Yeah, seriously, and it's funny because we play in a dynasty league. So because we play in a dynasty league, we are studying the rookies. Okay. So we know the rookies better than most fantasy football players. So when you're in a regular redraft league, those leagues rosters are small compared to the league rosters that we have. And I'm in 2 dynasty leagues. So therefore their rosters are much bigger because you keep these players on your team as long as you want to. In redrafts, you're drafting new players every year. So in one of the smaller leagues, a Yahoo league, which is a redraft, and I believe I think there's 5 or 6 bench spots, and that's it. And you may have 2 IR. So people are really, people that owned Chubb and owned Cooper Kupp and people like that are hurt, that own Alvin Kamara, are trying to hold on to those players, but they have to use those spots for players that are not playing, or you can put them on IR. I suggested expanding the rosters because so many players are getting injured. The response that I got to that was like, oh, no, we don't want to do that because it will make it less engaging for some of the owners. I'm like, what do you mean less engaging? I said, then I broke out the story about Puka. You know what I mean? I told that story. I said, I wanted to pick him up, but I didn't want to drop Garrett Wilson or Waddle or DJ Moore. And there's one other wide receiver that I can't think of. London from Atlanta. So I didn't want to drop any of those wide receivers to pick him up. But if I had an extra spot, because we cover the fantasy football different compared to everyone else, I had to say, when it was all said and done, well, I'm just built different. because I mean, that's how I close that. Well, I mean, if y'all don't want to play like that, well, I'm just built different because I want to be able to manipulate the waiver wire, make trades. And when I can spot talent like a Puka, I want to be able to pick him up and put him on my squad. Their thing was that other players would be less engaged because of that. So people that are in redrafts and have smaller rosters are feeling the pinch or the hurt of all of these major players going down. However, if they know their ish, they know who to pick up.
They know who to pick up. If you're checking us out and you play fantasy football, definitely hit us up in the chat line. We'd like to shout you out. And if you got any questions about setting your lineup for this week, which a lot of folks going to have some questions about setting that lineup,
right?
Drop it in the chat, and Lorenzo and I will try our best to help you out in terms of helping you set that lineup. So let's talk about some of the injuries that we just basically talked about. Cooper Kupp, he was one of the first wide receivers taken in most of the drafts this year, along with, of course, Jefferson and Chase. Right. But definitely Cooper Kupp would probably be number 3 on most people's list in terms of actually picking up a wide receiver. So the gentleman that you talked about that you picked or you tried to pick up, how do you pronounce this guy's name again?
I think it's Puka Nuka. Puka Nuka. That's his name. Yeah, Puka Nuka is his name. Yeah. Puka Nuka. And of course, in our league, I was salty. You know the story because I drafted him. I had watched his highlights in college. So when we had our dynasty draft,
did he go to? What college did he go to?
I don't remember. Okay. I couldn't even tell you. But I looked at the highlights. I looked at highlights of so many of those plays because I didn't know them. So, but when I knew who was going to, like Zay Flowers, I watched his highlights. I don't know what school he went to. Right. So, but I remember looking at the tape. So when I saw Puka, I said I picked him in the 3rd round. So he was one of the few playmakers that I picked because I got Zach Charbonnet in the 1st round. I picked can't remember the linebacker from Detroit, and then I picked Puka Nuka and another running back. Anyway. I picked him in the 3rd round, but because we have taxi squads, we could put our rookies on the taxi squads. I moved players because I drafted well last year, like Romeo Dobbs, Kadarius Toney, Isaiah Pacheco. Those guys.
Kadarius Toney, man. I saw him drop too many passes, but we'll talk about that.
That's all right, but he still got the targets, right? So if he figures it out, you know what I'm saying? So he may have a good game. I think they play. Who do they play? Arizona? I'm not sure who Kansas City plays. They got a game. They got a game that they should win. So I took those players that I could put on the taxi squad because I wanted to basically balance out my roster. So after I dropped Puka Nuka, I was like, don't nobody know who he is. So I released him so I could put out my roster. So then I'm watching Kupp and I was like, ooh, he might be out for a few weeks. So I'm like, okay, I need to go get Puka. And then that same day, the coach came out and said, yes, we're going to use Puka. And then I was trying to put him back on my lineup. That's when I text you about the taxi squad. I'm like, yo, can we still put players on the taxi squad? You're like, yeah, they're available until the start of the season. I'm like, why can't I do it on my phone? So I'm like, I'm trying to do it on my phone. And I was like, all right, let me go find my laptop. By the time I got to my laptop, somebody else in our league came and picked him up.
Oh, yeah.
I was
Damon
I was pissed. I was like, wow. Now, did I know he was going to be this good? No, I didn't know. But I figured the Rams were not going to have a strong running game. So they would be throwing the ball a great deal because they would be behind. So they would have Cooper Kupp and Puka Nuka, not knowing that Kupp was going to go on IR for 4 weeks. So, but those are the things that we have to be aware of because of the dynasty leagues that we play on. And the normal person doesn't even pay attention to those things.
Yeah. Well,
that's the difference.
And what's funny about our league, one of the guys in one of the general managers or owners of the team got on there and said, man, you guys are vultures when it comes to that waiver wire.
Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. We're playing for money. Right?
He said, you guys are vultures. Oh, man. So actually, I got the trophy downstairs. I got to bring that up.
Oh, you got to show it. You got to show that on camera.
Well, it's the Winners' Cup, and I'll bring that up in a second.
Okay.
I got to run downstairs and go grab that because he did bring that in. So tonight there's a football game going on, San Francisco and New York. Let's talk about Saquon Barkley. I feel for that brother.
Yeah,
he bet on himself. He was the one that was going to sit out,
right?
And he says, "Look, I'm going to bet on myself." Because everybody knows that at one time, if you watch football, back in the day, the running back was a prize position, and they were getting paid just as much or even more than the quarterbacks. But the way that the NFL is now, it's all about passing as well as scoring as many points as you can. And the running back position isn't as valued as it used to be.
Right.
What does that mean? They don't get paid as much as they used to. But at the same time, realistically, a running back's length in the league is much shorter than any other position in football. So they are devalued by ownership. And Saquon Barkley and a number of the studs in the league want to get that number up. But they won't extend them in terms of getting them a new contract until their first one runs out. Remember when we were watching, Patrick Mahomes, he actually re-signed a deal in the middle of a deal.
Right.
Because
he just restructured his deal this week.
He just restructured his deal on Sunday.
Yeah.
For another, $250 million, which is another 50. He's the highest paid person in the NFL, making 50 some odd $50 million a year. I get it.
But that move is made so now by sitting out the first game, Chris Jones showed how valuable he was to that Kansas City.
Probably like this. You might want to pay me a couple of dollars.
Exactly. So it's funny that after that first game that they lost, Chris Jones comes back and dominates against Jacksonville Jaguars. And then after that game, Chris Jones shows out. Patrick makes it, it's probably, and then the information comes out that he restructured his contract. Do you think that's a coincidence? No, not at all. So, but it's really unfortunate because Saquon, like you said, we're one of those running backs that we're trying to hold out for more money, but you got also, what's so unfortunate. You look at the other side, what happened with Nick Chubb, and it's kind of supports the reason why the owners don't give him those guaranteed contracts because of situations like that can happen to Nick Chubb. So the running backs are just caught in a position that they should be treated differently, to whereas they shouldn't be able to franchise them 1 year and then franchise them then again the next season. You know what I mean? They should be right. Exactly. And that's something that they do. They could just turn around and franchise you again and pay you whatever the market is indicating right now. Whereas I think Saquon settled for about what? Was it about $10 million? $10 million that he settled for. So,
but a lot of that falls upon the Players Association when they go back and negotiate those things. Because Saquon has bet on himself. And if he would have showed out this year and not got hurt, they would probably have to pay.
It's probably a couple of weeks. It wasn't a high ankle sprain, so he'll be back in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, he'll be back in a couple of weeks.
Yeah. So,
but for fantasy owners, now you got to.
Oh, yeah.
Who's backing up Saquon now?
Right. Who? I forgot who it was. Matt Breida's backing up.
So if you're,
and you know what? I don't think anybody in our league picked him up.
I'm pretty sure somebody picked him up.
I don't know. Last time I checked, no one picked up Matt Breida. Can you take a look real quick?
Frankie got him.
Oh, Frankie picked him up? Okay.
Frankie got him.
Hey, what did he do? He probably do it what? Today? Yesterday?
I don't know, but I know he got him.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're out there, if you got Saquon, most of the folks are either they got on their backup roster already, but Breida is the man if you need a quick fix this week. So.
And that goes back to the question. Yeah, that goes back. Sorry, E. That goes back to the question that you asked me about the roster. So therefore, you have to have the handcuff. Like I have Kenneth Walker from Seattle, but I also drafted in the first round Zach Charbonnet. So I have my handcuff. So I'm set with at least the Seattle Seahawks backfield. And all I'm waiting for now is for Jonathan Taylor to come back off of PUP, waiting to see where he ends up. And then wherever he goes, I'll try to do whatever I can to get that backup running back so I have the handcuffs there. That's what you have to do. And so in a dynasty league, we can do that, but in some of the redrafts, you can't.
A shout out to Ryan. He said, "Fins up,
fins up." What's going on? We on Miami Sports Music too, right?
Yeah, we're on Miami Sports Music Network. Matter of fact, shout out to Miami Sports Music Network for allowing us to be on their platform. Thank you. Mm-hmm. And if you're out there checking us out right now, do hit the like button as well as subscribe on the YouTube channel as well as the notification button. We're going to, of course, be doing this throughout the football season where we get a chance to talk fantasy football. And we're going to talk redraft league, and we're going to talk about dynasty league, and we're going to talk about all kinds of versions of fantasy football because, there are different versions of the ways that people play. And we kind of verse a couple of them because you in 4 leagues, I'm in 4 leagues.
Right.
This fake fantasy stuff.
Very real. Since I was just talking about Jonathan Butler and we're on the Miami Sports Music. Did I say Jonathan Butler? Didn't I tell you that is my biggest problem with names? Jonathan Butler is actually an old school R&B artist. And one of my biggest, I was just talking to Eric today. I was like, I cross-reference so many names because I got so many different names, and it just happened. So since I was just talking about Jonathan Taylor, I'm just waiting to see what happens when he gets off the PUP. Now, for you Dolphin fans, we were entertaining trading for him. So here's what I believe is going to happen. It's no coincidence that Jeff Wilson was put on the IR the same time that Jonathan Taylor was put on the PUP. So I think the Dolphins are going to put together a Wilson package, a package of Cedric Wilson and Jeff Wilson together to send to Indianapolis for Jonathan Taylor and probably throw in a 3rd-round pick. The salaries just about match, and people say we don't need Jonathan Taylor, but if you look at our backfield, A-Chain right now is just getting over that shoulder injury. You have Ahmed, who's dealing with the groin. Jeff Wilson is on the IR, and Mostert, can he stay healthy for an entire season at 31 years of age? No. And then, of course, we got Chris Brooks, but he's a rookie. So we need some veteran leadership. And you put Jonathan Taylor on the Miami Dolphins. I haven't said it yet. I haven't been singing Super Bowl as of yet. But if that happens, we're on the right track.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's what I'm looking to happen because that's Chris Greer's responsibility. Chris Greer's responsibility to do everything he can to improve the team. And if a Jonathan Taylor is out there and he would like to come to Miami and the money kind of makes sense and you can give him a big signing bonus, still pay him that $4 million, which balances out with, I guess if you add up what Jeff Wilson and Cedric Wilson is getting paid now after they restructured Cedric Wilson's contract, it works out about the same. Boom, you can fit him under the salary cap and not have to deal with a lot of dead money because you already handled Cedric Wilson's contract. So don't be surprised. I just wanted to put it on tape so we can go back and look at this in about 3 weeks to see if I was right or wrong.
We're going to find out because they got to do something.
They got it. Yeah, I don't think he wants to go to Indianapolis. In fact, he can somewhat dictate where he wants to go because he could tell that team that, you trade me, but I'm not going to I don't want to resign or I don't want to go for the extension.
Okay.
He can do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what's up. What's up. So, speaking of Jonathan Taylor.
Butler. Lord. Yeah, go ahead, man.
Yeah, you call him Jonathan Butler.
I surely did.
You call him Jonathan Butler. So let's speak to one of the biggest injuries as we talked about the running backs.
The one that went down today? Oh.
Nick Chubb.
Yeah.
That was rough. Yeah. That was rough watching.
Did you see it in real time, E?
Oh, yeah. I saw it in real time.
Oh.
I saw it in real time.
Yeah, I did not see it. I think I was doing another podcast with the Sports Brothers with Jeff Fox while it was on. So the game was on, but I wasn't watching. And everyone was talking about how gruesome it was. And I was like, okay, I don't want to see it. And the next thing I know, someone just puts a picture of it on Facebook. And I'm like, I didn't want to see it. But that was similar to, Willis McGahee getting hurt in the, I believe it was in a national championship where Willis McGahee got hurt.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah. Similar to as gruesome as that. I didn't see the video of it. I just saw the picture and I was like, wow, it's really unfortunate. And it's the same leg that Nick Chubb hurt in college. So,
yeah. And I'm a Georgia guy, so I'm down here in Georgia. So I've seen that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But Cleveland did the right thing. They went and signed Kareem Hunt, immediately. And the thing is, Kareem Hunt was out there on the waiver wire for a lot of people to take. And I picked him up in one of the leagues and I just held him because I figured, well, some of the teams are not going to sign the veterans because if they sign them before the start of the season, then their contracts become guaranteed. So I figured after the first week of the season, we may see a Kareem Hunt or a Leonard Fournette get signed, immediately after the first week. So I picked up Kareem Hunt, but I didn't hold on to him. So because I had to maneuver my lineup some way, form, or fashion. But Leonard Fournette is still out there, so you can look for him to probably sign somewhere, because now if he signs, those contracts are no longer guaranteed. But I think Kareem Hunt is a good pickup, and he doesn't have to share the carries with Nick Chubb anymore.
But he's not going to start. That's not going to happen. Jerome Ford, starting.
Mm-hmm.
The coach said today that, hey, Kareem Hunt, he's insurance. Our guy is Jerome Ford.
Well, Ford looked good out there.
Oh, he was running like his hair was on fire.
Yeah, he had a burst that we couldn't see, and we were in our show prep for the show. We were talking about. Well, I was kind of talking about how some people didn't look right, But Ford looked like he had some serious agility and a burst around that edge in that Steelers game.
Yeah, he looks good. And he was the number one player on the wire in most on most teams because nobody had him.
Right.
So, and he showed out. And Cleveland, the coach from Cleveland,
someone in our league had him, I believe. Someone in our league had him on the beach, on the bench. Yeah,
that was Carl.
Carl had him on his bench.
Carl got him all on his bench.
Right, and he had he had him on the taxi squad, right? Yep. Yeah, sitting on the taxi squad. Yep.
Yeah, so Carl seems to always have the players.
Mm-hmm.
But he won second place last year, so he was real good at what he did.
Right.
So we know Jerome Ford is playing, but at the same time, like you said, you got to pick up Kareem Hunt because he knows the offense. He will get some touches.
Mm-hmm.
And if Jerome Ford is a one-hit wonder, we know Kareem Hunt is going to carry the load for the rest of the season.
And Jerome's a rookie too, correct?
Yeah.
He's a rookie. So therefore, does he have the ability to pick up the blitz?
Yeah,
what I'm saying? Sometimes those things take a little while. How much of the playbook does he really know? So I think Kareem is going to get some run. Like you said, he knows the playbook, but can this guy really pick up the blitz? Because that's what's going to happen. As soon as they see him on the field, you better believe that's where the blitz is coming.
They're coming.
They're coming.
But that brother ran like his hair was on fire.
Mm-hmm.
They say the running back position is the easiest position to pick up in the NFL. Out of all the other positions.
Yeah, but will he be able to pick up a blitz?
If somebody come and stop him.
Will he be able to do that? Because they had a hard time. They did not pick up that blitz against Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
my boy T.J. Watt put it on them.
Yeah, and you figure Deshaun felt the pain. So if you're checking this out right now, this is
wait. What did you say? No. You said he felt the what? Deshaun felt the pain. Yeah, I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it so it can forever and consistently be said. Deshaun Watson, I got him on my team, and I just put him on my bench. And he's going to stay on my bench until he can show me that he looks somewhat like the old Deshaun. You know where I'm going. Deshaun Watson. And if you watched him, and I've even heard some of the analysts say that he doesn't look the same. He looks stiff. He doesn't need fluid. And I think he doesn't seem fluid. So I think the problem is he might need a massage. You know what I'm saying? I really think do you see how stiff he looks? Now, I'm not saying he need to get a female to give him a massage. You may even get a male to give him a massage, but because he can't deal with that. But he just doesn't seem as agile. He doesn't seem as loose and athletic as he did 2 years ago. Don't you agree?
I mean, look.
That he needs a massage? Well, you're not gonna say it. You're not gonna say it. but he just does not look as flexible and as fluid as he did in the past. In that pocket, he looks really stiff. He's not able to avoid the rush like he did 2 years ago. And is that rust?
How old is he? Getting a little older too. Sir.
I think he's 28. He's 28 years old.
Yeah, that's older football years.
But he was out for 2 years.
And not for quarterback though.
He
But
was
no,
out for 2 years.
we talked about that. All of the guys that got paid a lot of money plays like crap now. Jalen did okay last week, but the week before that, he didn't look good. Joe Burrow is hurt. Who else got paid an absorbent amount of money that couldn't put two and two together? Of course, Deshaun looked okay. I mean, so it's funny because they talked about all these folks making all this money, but they're not performing.
Right. Right.
It is what it is. Now, one of the injuries, because this is the Dirty South Fantasy Football Podcast, and we kind of labeled this one called injuries, because there are so many people that have been injured in the NFL, and a lot of fantasy owners are trying to find out or figure out who should we put in place, who should we put on our squad in order to stay competitive in our league. And I felt sorry for this brother. Now, I don't know how many places where he would be starting anyway because he is a rookie. But I felt bad that he got put on the bench because he's hurt. Bryce Young, the number one pick out of Alabama.
It's his ankle, correct, that he hurt?
Yeah.
His ankle. Okay.
His ankle. So Bryce is out, and it's crazy because I was at his first game in Atlanta down here in the Mercedes-Benz, and his mom and pops were in a suite around the corner from us. They were just rooting him on, and we were down by 10. By the time it was over with, they didn't have that same smile on their face because they had lost the game. And then of course, if you were watching the Monday night game, you watch them in the booth, and you could see the horror on their face. I was like, ooh wee, that's a whole lot going on.
Yeah. But I didn't see too much of that game. Now, he hurt his ankle in the game and was able to finish.
He finished. Okay. But when I say that picture right there, they probably put him on the ground, I don't know, 8 or 9 times throughout the whole game. It was a monster. So, if you had Bryce Young, most folks, if you had him, they had him on this bench. But if you actually had him starting on your team, time to bring out the Red Raider. Yes.
Ooh, wait.
Andy Dalton, baby.
Did you pick him up, E?
No.
Nah.
I picked up what's the name picked him up? Damon picked him up because I picked up Dobbs, and he had no quarterback. And then when they announced Bryce Young, he picked him up. So, but he's back. Andy Dalton back, baby. If you're out and about looking for a quarterback, he gonna give you good 2.5 quarters,
and that's it.
Interceptions.
Who does Carolina play this week?
The Saints. The Saints.
No, they just played them.
No, not the Saints. Who they play? I gotta check it out.
Yeah, I don't have that in front of me.
Yeah, it's crazy that all of these folks are going down. A lot of significant players that have been playing. What's my Christian Watson for Green Bay hadn't suited up. He's been hurt. He's been hurt the whole time.
He's dealing with a hamstring injury, and because of that, Jalen Reed has excelled in Christian Watson's absence, along with Romeo Dobbs. Well, Dobbs didn't have a good game this second week. He scored 2 touchdowns in week 1, and Jalen Reed was able to put some points on the board. So they are still, Jordan Love is leading all quarterbacks in fantasy football points right now.
Oh yeah, he's still doing his thing because they have I think Corey Dillon. Dillon is still the running back for Green Bay. He was hurt too. So there are a lot of injuries out there.
Dillon is hurt too.
Not Dillon.
Aaron Jones is hurt.
Aaron Jones is hurt.
Right. So he pulled his hamstring on that run.
Yeah. So there are a lot of folks out there that have are out and about in terms of players that have gotten hurt. There are a lot of people out there on the waiver wire that we hadn't even heard of that you can pick up. If you got any questions right now about your lineup and who you should sit or start, make sure you drop that in the chat. This is the Dirty South Fantasy Football Podcast. Once again, I'm Eric Lee, and you are
Lorenzo Ice-T Thomas.
And we're always happy that you are out and about checking us out. If you get a chance, feel free to drop a chat in the chat line, as well as make sure you hit on Facebook, hit the like button. And if you're on YouTube, hit the subscription button, as well as a notification button. And we bring this content to you each and every week. Now, some of you guys have seen us on Thursdays, and it's a totally different program. It's Shooting the Breeze, Conversations with the DJ. Don't worry, it's coming back. But we want to make sure we kick off the fantasy football podcast. We got a lot of stuff to do this fall, man.
Yeah, man, it's a good time.
To do.
It's a good time. But when you do so much research and so much studying, and you have all this information in your head, I need a way to be able to disseminate it and get it out. Playing in extra leagues help, but also doing the podcast helps as well. San Francisco's up 3-0 on the Giants right now.
Okay, all right. Let's talk about some more injuries because this is what the show is about. Gosh, what's my man? New York Giants. Aaron Rodgers.
You mean New York Jets?
The Jets.
Yeah. Aaron Rodgers. You know who's really? I'm sorry. I thought about who could really be pissed off about the decision that they made. Dalvin Cook.
Oh yeah, he left Minnesota.
Was a free agent, had an offer from the Miami Dolphins, and he decided to go to, he's got to be sitting there like, especially in that Cowboy game, after he fumbled that ball, he was sitting on that bench without any Aaron Rodgers and got Zach out there. He must have been sitting there like, man, I should have gone to Miami. I should have been at home. I would be at home 2-0 right now had I chose that. But he decided to go to New York. But
so there was who's looking at me right now? Who's checking me out? I don't know. Hopefully it's not a Dallas Cowboy fan because it's hard for me to give them credit for anything. Since this is a recorded thing, I'm a swear I ain't say this, and it was a doppelganger. Their defense is pretty good this year.
Oh no, the defense does look good. It does look good. And it looks fast. And both games were against New York teams that have below average quarterback play, and they were on turf. They weren't on grass. So let's see how they look against a team that has above average quarterback play on grass. Now, they are the best looking team based on these past 2 weeks in the NFL, based on the 70-10 score. And but we knew after Aaron Rodgers got hurt what they were going to do to the Jets. So was anybody surprised by that? I mean, how many field goals did the kicker kick? 5. So they were able to move the ball in between the 20s. And how many turnovers were they given? Yeah, I mean, the Jets turned the ball over, what, three times? Okay. You had, I mean, the Jets defense is good, but they're making it, because they put 30 points on the board, but they got the advantage of all those turnovers. It should have been more. But because the Jets defense is good, and of course, once they got the lead, they got conservative and just moved the ball up and down the field. So I want to see them, basically play against a quarterback that is better than Zach Wilson and Daniel Jones. Right.
Well, I mean, they of course.
Are you heading to where I think you're heading?
Well, the fact that Trayvon Diggs is out.
Yeah, that hurts. That hurts.
The best corners in the game.
That hurts.
And without him, how strong will they be in that secondary now? Because one of the things about Trayvon Diggs, when you've got Michael Parsons breathing down the neck of a quarterback, they make errant throws. And as athletic as Trayvon is, that helps him to be able to be in position to snag a ball or two because Michael Parsons keeping that heat. But who's back there now?
What's interesting is I want to see what cornerback they put out there because we traded Noah Igbinoghene to the Dallas Cowboys. So we did a swap of cornerbacks. Right. So it'll be interesting to see if they put Noah out there. The Cowboy fans, y'all don't want to see that. Y'all don't want to see Noah Igbinoghene out there playing cornerback at all. It's going to, it's really unfortunate. It's really unfortunate. You want them to be at full strength. As a fan of the Dolphins, it hurt me the same way when Jalen Ramsey got hurt. He's out, we want to have Jalen Ramsey and Xavier Howard as our 2 lockdown corners. Now, fortunately for us, Jalen Ramsey is going to be back at the latter part of November, December. So we'll be able to play a different style of defense. And when you're talking about, some of the best looking teams, of course, right now, based on 2 games, the Miami Dolphins look like the best team in the AFC next to maybe, say, Baltimore. Baltimore looked pretty good in their 2 wins as well. But when you compare, I think the 2 teams, San Diego, Los Angeles Chargers are a good team. Yeah, me and the names, the Chargers are a good team. And earlier today, I went to say Justin Jefferson, and I said John Jefferson. And John Jefferson is the former wide receiver.
He played there in a decade or 2.
Yeah, but he was a good wide receiver. John Jefferson was a beast, and he played for the San Diego Chargers. Right. So, the Chargers just don't know how to finish. Their last 3 games that they've played, they've had leads and haven't been able to close.
Right.
So when you compare the Dolphins defense now to what it's going to look like at the end of the season, it's going to be some of the trials and tribulations that the Dallas Cowboys defense will have having to play without that other second lockdown corner. So it's going to be an adjustment for them, but they've got enough talent and enough speed on that defense that, they're still in the runnings, but it just hurts because the defense probably will not be as vaunted as it's been the last 2 games.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. That is absolutely positively true. Speaking of more injuries,
and Stephon Gilmore is, people can still throw at him. I mean, we saw what Garrett Wilson did to him in that Jets game. So if you're going up against a competent quarterback and a top of the line, top 10 wide receiver, that can be done to Stephon Gilmore now. I think he was in Carolina last year, and they did throw. No, he was in Indianapolis. So they did throw the ball at him now. I don't think he's as good as he was in his days in New England, but he's still good.
Okay. So as we go down the list of all of the injuries in the NFL, Baltimore, that brother came up to save life.
J.K.
Dobbins.
And the irony is that when we're going through our redrafts and I see Baltimore running backs, it's like,
Stay away.
Don't draft them if you can avoid them. Because it's just, I don't know, it's something in the crab cakes in Baltimore? Who knows? But it's like, man, he can't get a break, and they just seem that they can't stay healthy in Baltimore. And then Odell Beckham goes down.
Yeah.
And then with another injury, which basically makes Zay Flowers now a number 2 wide receiver, or a number 1, because Rashad Bateman hasn't done anything either all season.
Zay is going to be the number 1 because
he's the number 1. That's right. You don't have Zay. Scotty has Zay.
Scotty has Zay.
Yeah, Scotty has Zay. You have Will Anderson, and you picked up. Who else you picked up?
For
offensive player
lately
in the second round of the draft.
The running back.
You picked up someone I wanted.
The running back from Tennessee. That's
Spears. Is it Spears?
Spears, yeah.
Yeah. Tajay Spears. Yeah, he might. Derrick Henry. I think he was limited in practice today, dealing with the toe. So it's Tajay, right? Spears.
Yeah.
He may get some run this week. He may get some run because of, and I think he had quite a few touches as well. So he was someone I liked. He was someone I liked too coming out of the draft.
Yeah, I got. And the thing about it is, for you guys out there, like, who the hell is Tajay? We do a rookie draft because when we in our league, the one that we're talking about, most of the time is our dynasty league where we drafted last year and you keep all of the players.
Right.
Until you decide to either trade them or whatever. And we only have a rookie draft. So we pay attention to the college game. Speaking of college games, let's kind of sidetrack this conversation about fantasy. Well, it's still fantasy.
Yeah. Big shout out to Jay Tech. He's on IG. What's up, Jay?
What up, Jay? I beat him last week. So, hey, Jay. My bad, bro. I'll see him tomorrow. You see what Dion said?
Well, he said a lot
about his kids. It's like
now, which one is it? Is this the clip with Brady?
No, this ain't the clip with Brady when he says stay out of the Maybach and stay in the
get in the film room.
In the film room, they were talking about him and talking about Shador going pro next year. He was like, no, he's not going to the NFL.
Yeah, no.
Because he's going to be the number 2 draft pick.
Right.
And
he can't be number 2.
He said, he can't be number 2 to anybody.
Right.
I was like, but the number 2 draft pick gets paid a lot of money too, right?
I mean, when you prime time, you have to be number 1. His son's got to be number 1.
But the question is, what's to say that there isn't a stud out there that's going to be just as good as Shador?
They can't see. They don't see that. They don't see that. There's no one better.
You still can get hurt because we saw what happened to Travis, even though it was a nasty play.
Mm-hmm. And the player number 11 should have been ejected.
Should have been ejected. So you can anybody
death threats are unnecessary. We don't need that. Yeah. You know. So
he didn't. So when you can be hurt at any point in time, if you're available to be at the number 2 position, don't be that arrogant. But I guess you can do that because right now could come out and be the number 2 quarterback.
Yeah, that is true. But he also wants to build up the program and have his son finish with his degree as well. So I think that's where Deion is looking at it. And then they're talking about, Warren Sapp is going back to get his degree so he can coach next year. So Deion is looking at all these players that he's going to be able to recruit over the next year, and he just I need 7 or 8 more dogs. And he needs that's all he needs. I need some dogs, and he gets some big boys up front in the trenches. That's what he needs. And if Warren Sapp can finish up his degree and be there to coach next year, could you imagine what that D line is going to look like when they find out that Warren Sapp is the line, coaching the linemen?
Oh, I mean, they had to keep an eye on Warren because Warren put his hands on him.
Yeah, that might be true. That might be true.
Hey, you run that ball.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that might be true.
I talk to Deion from time to time. We chatted up, and I said, "Look here, man.
Right.
Let me know.
Right. Right. That's good. That's a good picture right there. That's a good picture.
That's a good picture there.
Yeah, man.
I'm talking it up.
Yeah. It's a couple of years ago. You looked a little heavier there.
Yeah, I am a little heavier there. And me and Coach Prime, we talk a little bit.
Right. But I love it
too, man. Look at you, a little thicker too. Look at
Yeah.
Both of us that were missing a meal at that point.
Right. But I love exactly what he's doing for college football. But what's your take, E? Let me ask you a question on some of the people that have criticized Deion for leaving Jackson State. I've also heard some people say that he should have hired black coordinators. He's got a lot of black coaches, but he should have hired black coordinators. And it's just people that just still have criticisms of him because he said God told him to go to Jackson State.
With his Louis, with his bags. Mm-hmm. No, I mean, the thing about Deion, look, I mean, it's no secret for none of us that some of our HBCUs don't do what they're supposed to do.
Right.
And it was well documented that Deion had left his wallet and a couple of things in his office, and they magically walked away.
Yeah, I remember that.
They were stealing from him. They were stealing from the coach.
Mm-hmm.
In addition to that, Deion bought, huge sponsors to the university for uniforms, and he bought money to the university.
Right. Rebuild the entire practice field.
He rebuilt the entire he
with sponsorship money that from his relationships.
Right. So I think what happens is, people got upset that Deion left, but Deion did a lot for the university.
Mm-hmm.
And there were some things that were going on at the university that they could have helped him out, but they didn't do it.
Right.
Because we already understand, people in academia, they can get a little funky because they're smarter than everybody in the place. And
so they think.
Hey, look, it's their university, so they're gonna play it that way. And Deion is the type of cat that you're not gonna do that to.
Right. And they think they're smarter than everyone, but they don't have the street smarts.
Yeah, because think about it. Not only Deion, but Ed Reed went to Bethune-Cookman.
Right.
And he didn't last, I don't know,
2 months.
2 months
Yeah.
because he couldn't get along with the academia.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then he saw that the facilities were bad, and look, we attended HBCUs. We love our HBCU.
Yep.
We love what the president has done to the university. We love where
You're referring to our alma mater right now? You're talking about Virginia State? Yeah, okay. You're talking about Virginia State University. Okay.
Love where we went.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I remember back when we were there, there's some crazy stuff going on in academia there. I was like,
that's true. That's true.
It's crazy.
Right.
But the thing about it is, I don't blame Deion for leaving. A better opportunity is a better opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, he didn't leave his players. Some of his players went along with him.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the coaches. I mean, you can't look. If we want to get to a place where, if we do the exact same things that the other folks do, then we know better than they are.
Facts. Right.
If there's a white man that can coach a football player to become the best that he can be, to go to the next level, why Deion can't pick him up?
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, he should be able to.
Yeah. And something else, you remember what you will remember once I mentioned it. People forget about the water shortage. Remember that?
Yeah.
When he had to deal with that,
he had
the water shortage, and he was taking baths in the swimming pools.
Yeah.
So all of those people that want to criticize him for leaving, where were you when they were? Yeah, right. Did you help? Exactly. Where were you when they were dealing with the waters? Yeah, exactly. Staying in hotels. Did you help out then?
Yeah.
Did you send money? Did you send water? Were you there? But you want to criticize him for leaving. You forget about all the things, and that's what we know.
Right.
There could have been other things that we don't know. But what puts Deion in a separate situation, which is unique compared to any other coach coming from an HBCU, is that one, he is prime time. You know what I'm saying? So one of the greatest athletes we've ever seen. Two, he's a black head coach who's a stepfather to a lot of those kids, but then he's also a father to two of the kids that are the best players on his squad.
Right.
And at this particular time, at their age, there's a small window where he can have his kids elevated, have their stock raised based on putting them on a Power 5 platform. Because his son could have been doing this at Jackson State. Would they have gotten all the recognition? Would have over 9 million people on ESPN that watched it this past Saturday night, Sunday morning, been able to see the greatness of Brady Mode by Shador? So now he's put his sons on the platform to whenever they choose to enter the NFL draft, they will be drafted in the first round instead of in the third, fourth, or fifth round, or not even being drafted at all. And that's the responsibility first and foremost for him as a father, being a father, not a baby daddy, being a father to his two sons and to Travis and to Smoke and the other guys on his team that he has basically raised and been a coach since they were 4 or 5, 6 years old. This is the window. So he took that window of opportunity and now he's put them on the biggest platform in the world. And when whatever they do this Sunday, that's one thing. Oregon's going to be tough, but it's going to look like the BET Awards on the sidelines when USC comes to Colorado 2 weeks from now. That game is going to be bananas.
Well, I think it's good for college football for a couple of reasons, because everybody that he plays, they're going to automatically be seen by the world, the NFL. Those players will be highlighted. Right. So, and it will bring, like right now, I think I saw a stat today. All of the home games have been sold out for Colorado, and this has never happened.
Right.
So
tickets going for over $500 a pop.
Yeah, and they're sold out for the remainder of the year. And this never happened. So we see the Deion effect, and it's not because Deion is there. It's because Deion is there and they're winning. They won one game last year. He's already tripled the output. In addition to that, they're not out there just barely winning. They're laying the wood when they play.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So I mean, you see that he can coach, and he did say something that I don't believe. Like Deion said, believe. There's one thing I do not believe about Deion Sanders. I don't believe that this is his final stop is college football. He is going to be a professional football coach eventually. He said, no college. Nah, bro. You prime. What's bigger than college football?
Well, he repeatedly.
He's going to be a pro coach.
He has repeatedly said he doesn't want to coach in NFL.
He going to coach.
Because of the egos. And those guys don't want to work. I mean, I'm just saying, this is what he has said, and he said it repeatedly. I don't want to go to the NFL. I don't want to coach there. I love coaching these kids. He said it when he was working at the NFL network. He was like, no, I need to have my time carved out so I can coach these kids. He wants to raise young men, and that's what he feels as if he's been called to do.
If you checking us out right now,
I don't know if God's gonna come in and say, "Here's another shift, Deion. You need to go to the NFL."
Me and Lorenzo we got some beef going on here. If you're checking us out, go in the chat line. Do you believe that Deion will stay in college, or will he make his way eventually to the pros? I want to know. Now, my man Concrete, he says, I agree. He'll be a pro coach with his kids and win Super Bowls. That's
okay. All right. So how's that going to happen? Shador's going to get drafted by a team.
Hold on. One of them won't be there.
What do you mean? Both of his sons are going to the NFL.
It's not necessarily that both of them going to be on the same team.
Right. Exactly. But then Deion's got to become a coach of the same team that his son was drafted to. So all I'm saying is what I have heard Deion say. And he said, I'm not going. I can't deal with the egos. I'd rather deal with the kids.
That's why the people at Jacksonville stay pissed off with him, because he also said he gonna go there and he gonna finish the job.
And based on what he accomplished, he won 2 what they call SWAC championships. Is that what they call?
He lost both of them. I was there at both of them.
He made it there, though. He made it there. So he accomplished that. You know what I mean?
Well, he got there, but they lost both games. One was to South Carolina. The other one was to North Carolina Central.
Now, if I think what will happen is he may not stay in Colorado too much longer. He may go to Florida State. Even though they have a good coach right now, if an opportunity comes up for him to go back to Florida State, I believe
disparaging things about Florida State. I don't know if they want to bring him back.
But they know why he said those things.
Oh, yeah, they know
because they dissed him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He wouldn't have to go the Jackson State route and go to Colorado had they believed in him, So I mean, that's it. But I think he'll make another move, to another college before he goes to the NFL. Well, but you know what? It just hit me. It just hit me.
What just hit you?
Here's a scenario.
I'm listening.
If the Dallas Cowboys don't make it to the Super Bowl, Jerry Jones may come calling. Jerry Jones might write. Jerry Jones. I don't believe it, but Prime about that money though.
That was my next argument to you. I'm like this.
I said that's the only way that I could see him leaving college to go pro, because Jerry Jones is done with McCarthy and the Cowboys don't make it to the Super Bowl. And towards the end of the season, Dak Prescott doesn't win in January, as he basically, that's what he does in January. He does not win. If that happens, then I could see a Jerry Jones picking up the phone, calling Prime, and offering him some money that he could not refuse. That's the only way I could see him going pro. And that could happen next season.
Well, I mean,
because if Jerry's basically said, okay, McCarthy, he about that money.
Must be the money.
Must be the money.
Must be the money.
Yeah, he's saying it. That's the only scenario that I could see happening for him to want to go pro.
That was my next argument.
Yeah.
The fact that you say he won't, I was like, let me pull up "Must Be the Money" Dion so I can show you why he gonna be gone.
That's the only way outside of that.
Jones money, you talking? I was about to ask and look at him, man.
Yeah, and then because it is the Cowboys, that's the only.
He's the biggest franchise, the guy with the most money.
Right. Yeah. The franchise that's valued at $9 billion.
Yeah,
that's
the biggest franchise in the world.
Yeah. And a franchise he used to play for. You know what I mean? So that's the only way I can see that. I mean, just based on what he's said emphatically over and over again. He didn't say, I'm never leaving Jackson State over and over and over again. The way he says, I don't want to go pro.
Yeah, well, you're going to go pro if just like you said, if Jerry come calling, because at the end of the day.
What's up, Rick? What's up, Miami Sports Music? What's up, cuz? Hey, Lorraine. Who else want to shout these people out real quick?
Right here.
Rick Fobbs, what's up?
And at the end of the day, when we're talking about Prime, he bought that coin. He bought that coin. He bought that coin. And if Jerry comes and calling, he gonna see it.
That's the only scenario that I see that could ever happen.
Yeah,
that
makes sense to me.
Yeah, that's the only way. Outside of that, I don't see him going. Yeah. So, and then therefore, if McCarthy doesn't make it happen this year, are they going to bring him back another year?
That depends, man.
They got rid of the offensive coordinator, right? Kellen Moore is gone, so now he's calling. Say it again.
If they get him to the championship, very few people even make it close to the Super Bowl. You can get rid of them, right. But why would you? It's just like the reason why they keep saying Dak. Dak is very, God, I hate saying this. He's pretty decent in the regular season. He always implodes.
Yeah.
During the playoffs. But how many people don't make the playoffs every year? He makes the playoffs.
There's a lot of teams, 7 teams, and each conference makes it to the playoffs.
He makes it to the playoffs every year, pretty much. And if you can make it to the playoffs, you got a shot.
Right.
You got a shot.
Right.
Now he threw it to the wrong team in San Francisco last year. But what happens if Dallas gets the best record?
I mean, they should play in the NFC.
But what I'm saying,
I mean, it ain't but Philly and San Francisco that they got to worry about.
But with winning with having the best record, you have the opportunity to have home field advantage throughout the playoffs. What would Dak look like being in Jerry world every game? There's probably a better opportunity for him to make it to the Super Bowl. I would hate it to happen because I live to troll Dallas Cowboy fans. I live to troll y'all. No cap. So
I'm glad my team is in the AFC and I don't have to deal with them. But the Dolphins and the Cowboys do play. And Pat McAfee said right now, if the season ended today, the two teams that they would predict to be in the Super Bowl would be the Dolphins and the Cowboys.
Well,
with Diggs going down, who's going to check Jalen Waddle and who's going to check Tyreek Hill?
Well, I mean that's a nightmare matchup for whomever they play. So
yeah,
it's a nightmare.
And then we get Teron Armstead's probably going to come back. He's out. Pro Bowl left tackle who hasn't played these past 2 games. So, and then, I mean, we're going to get better. We're going to get better talent coming back of course, if we can stay healthy, and Tua can stay healthy, of course. And that's the case in point with any quarterback.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Shout out to the man. The chef is in the house. What's up, chef?
What's up, chef?
Got him in the house. What's good? So man, that hour went by real fast.
Yeah. Right now, it's 8:48 left. 8:48 to go in the second quarter. Wow, the Giants are competing with the 49ers. It's 3-3 with 8:48 left to go in the second quarter.
Hey man, it'll be done by fourth quarter. Well, good stuff, man. Mm-hmm. Man, it's good to get up here and chat and talk about a little football.
That's right.
Every week we're talking about the Dirty South Fantasy Football Podcast, and we are going to do. As a matter of fact, thank you for all of the folks that joined the podcast today. Mm-hmm. We love the fact that you guys are actually come in on a weekly basis and check out some of the content that Lorenzo and I put out there.
Right.
Special shout out to the folks that usually check us out for another program we do called Shooting the Breeze. That is coming back. We got some really cool hosts. Matter of fact, I'm going to catch up with Damien from Guy. In a couple of days. So I'll bring him on the show.
That'll be a good one.
That's gonna be a good show. We got
that'll be a good one.
From BET, he's going to be on the show. So we're going.
I did ask Damien. Remember, "Piece of My Love"?
Oh yeah.
And we always debated whether or not Aaron Hall said you're dumb. Yeah, he denies that Aaron Hall said that on the song. He denies it. But we play a real clean version on Star 94.5 where you don't even hear the ad lib. So they cleaned it up for a reason. But I did ask Damien. I said, "Come on, man, you could tell me." Let go back to.
Let us know.
Say it again.
He said, we want to let him know. Let him know. Let us know."
No, he said, "No, it was just an ad lib."
Yeah, and I swear, I guess it's time for me to end the show because I got a hungry dog here.
Okay. Well, E, before you go, man, let them know where they can find you and what upcoming TV shows or commercials you have coming up.
Man, I'm getting beat up. I gotta get off me, man. Lord, I got a boxer here. He's just as cool as the others. Man, he about it today, man. Y'all can check me out at Dirty South FFL. You see it right there on all of my social media. You can check me out on, this guy right here, 100 Hip Hop and R&B FM online, as well as the Soul Lounge Cafe. You can check me out on there. Okay, gracious, he hungry, y'all. He hungry. I fed him. Believe me, I fed him before the show started. I did, and definitely check us out each and every week here on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, you name it. I threw the ball. So what's the score, man? Go ahead.
Giants 49ers just scored. They're up, kicking the extra point with 7:49 left to go in the second quarter. 49ers are up. Okay. And the extra point is up, and it is good. So the 49ers are leading 10-3 with 7:49 left to go in the second quarter.
All right. So y'all can catch me.
Okay, and some wide receiver by the name of Hill caught the touchdown pass from Purdy. Hill, that helps. Oh, Bell helps no one. That helps no Bell. Oh, that's probably because Ayuk is hurt. So I guess they got Bell in there. So when Ayuk scores a touchdown, you know what they say when Ayuk scores a touchdown? Ayuk is on fire. We don't need no water. That's what they say. Yeah, that's when they say when Ayuk scores a touchdown. I thought that was funny when I heard that. All right, well, I'm bouncing on out of here. You can see me. Big shout going out to everyone on Miami Sports Music. Steven, what's good? Solo D, what's good? You can see me this Sunday at Hard Rock Stadium in Section 101, front row. Yours truly and Papa Pump. That's where I want to see you. I'm going to be there when the gates open. Papa Pump will be tailgating, so all Dolphin fans, come on out there as we take on the Denver Broncos. You check me out also tomorrow and throughout the week, Monday through Friday, 3 to 7 on Star 94.5, Saturday night on Hot 105, 6 to 10. And follow me on IG, as you are right now. Lorenzo Ice T, Lorenzo ICETEA, YouTube, Lorenzo Ice T Thomas. Elon Musk is about to charge us for Twitter, so I don't even plug that anymore. So, other than that, man, we'll see. Yeah, but yeah, he about to charge people because he said that's the only way you can get rid of the bots. Is to, people have to pay a subscription. That's where he's headed. Well, I don't know if I'll be on there for long.
You heard it. We will see you guys next week.